glasses. Evening, everybody. Alright, flip over to the overhead. People don't want to see my face, they just want to see what I'm working on. Where's the damn mouse pointer? There it is. Hey, Pedro. I don't know, Pedro, I could always make it drama around here. Everybody loves drama. I'll bring out the old Wagner and start cooking everything and get the place really heated up with drama. Alrighty. So this is the board that we fixed up last night that had the LED backlight issue, the stage lighting effect. About time I finished up this job and got it off to the respective owner, who has been patient enough in the last while I've been dragging my feet. Hey, Marinus DeVit, good day to you. Do people say DeVit? Or do they say DeWid? DeWid? Personally, I always seem to interpret as DeVit. Hey, Steve. LP8550 has already been replaced. Hey, Ed Solshop. Oh, Sutterbridge snuck in here. Just saw that. ZX, what are you doing here? Do you actually have a ZX81 yourself? Or ZX80? Andre? Marius DeVit, your first pronunciation. Okay, cool. Bob Siddle. I weren't. Yeah, anyway, it was a fun day today on the various chat groups on Facebook. Those who participate in those will know exactly what I mean. We received a nice reminder today of the fact that sometimes there are just natural separations in people's personalities that you cannot force together. You just have to accept that there's going to be Group A and Group B, and you can't bring them together, no matter what. There's a few fortunate people that can coexist between those two groups, but you can't really bring the two groups together. Basil. So ZX still got his 81 and Spectrum Z80 CPUs. Cool. Been a long time since I've had my hands on a Z80 CPU of any sort. Not that I'd really do that ever again, but it was an interesting time. And it's good that some people are still out there preserving that kind of thing. I see now. Warren brings up the good part of the day. Yes, the SpaceX event. And unfortunately, of course, those who did watch it will know that it didn't end so well. But it was a different kind of ending from the previous one, although it does seem like they've still got the problem with the engine-rich exhaust on the Raptors on the restart. Not quite sure what's going on there. It was a different kind of engine-rich exhaust this time. So maybe something just fell off, or maybe the primary deflector baffle fell off. I don't know. Either way, it was unfortunate. But what I found interesting was the fact that the landing field that they had, the proximity of the other starship, like SN10 and all the others, to where they were landing. that's some pretty decent confidence that you go, okay, even if we blow up on this landing, we shouldn't take out everything else around us. I mean, that's confidence for you. Yeah, I do like SpaceX's approach. And I mean, it used to be like that, but you do have to have a lot of money to get away with that. And it does tend to either have to be government money or private money. There's no way you can... Well, I guess, you know, tests, they are getting away with a little bit with it being public money, shareholders and stuff. But I think at least they've got a track record. So hopefully they can stick... I don't know if they'll stick the next one, but yeah, SN10, but hopefully SN11 will be the moment where it all comes together nicely. Nick Vasey, I still have my Commodore 64 complete with the music cassette tape drive. Man, those things used to drive me insane. My little VZ200/VZ300 Z80 machine, that was fun with those cassette tapes. And by fun I mean incredibly annoying. Okay, I just need the itty bitty little screw for this one. The one that I just dropped. Hey Burbars. Now sort of bridge. You're revealing your position. Personally, I'm glad they're doing it like that. Yeah, the whole just keep blowing stuff up until we stop blowing stuff up. Because it takes too long to get other things done. Yeah, the NASA way. Or the new NASA way, which is do not do anything to make Congress or anybody have due reason to cut our funding. The 3-inch, that was the Amstrad, wasn't it? Oh yeah, you said the Amstrad. Yeah, I remember the 3-inch Amstrad discs. I think there was, what was the game that I remember on that one? Something like Commando or something. It was a side scroller. I just remember it. You're at some sort of air force base or something. And you had big fuel tankers and rockets. I can't remember the name of the game. I guess the name of the game was Don't Die. Defender, I'm not sure. Green Beret, that might have been it. Let's see, images. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Green Beret. Yeah, I remember that now. Congratulations on that. But it was a very peculiar disc format. I guess I'm only saying that because, of course, you know, the 3.5-inch format came out and pretty much put everything else to bed. And by bed I mean buried it. But it was certainly quite advanced for its time. There we go. Oh, good one, Paul. Memotech MTX 512. That one I don't remember. I wonder if it was a regional release, as in it didn't get into Australia. We got a lot of the Atari machines, the ones that were basically direct competitors to the Amigas. We sold a lot of those, and they were great machines. The audio side of it was done quite nicely. But then the PC just started to keep eating into everybody's market, and it was pretty much the end of it. Got to the point by about 1989 where if you weren't PC compatible, you were basically, or if you weren't a Mac, you were basically dead in the market. Hey Teresa, I thought you'd be here sooner. I thought you saw that I was prepping on the Discord. Oh. It seems like a lot of people have got their old machines that I don't. I do not have anything older than maybe... I just don't keep my old stuff. The Atari ST was the one that I sold a lot of. Just trying to see that I have done what I think I should be doing. Still got an Apple IIe. The Apple IIe was the first machine where I learnt to be concerned about whether I was going to make a whopping mistake or not. Because I believe there was a disk controller card that I had to put into it. And this is for the school. The school had been gifted these Apple IIes by I don't know who, but we had them. We were a state school. And I think I was in grade 6 or 7. I think it was 6. And we had to... There was something wrong with the disk controller card. It had to... A new one had been installed or something like that. But I don't know why, but for some reason I had to take it out, and then I didn't take note of the orientation, and it could plug in either way, at least from my youthful perception. And I asked someone, I said, do you know which way it goes around? Which way is the correct way? And they said, it can go either way, but if it gets plugged in the wrong way, it will die. And I was like, oh great. Little 11-year-old being told that if they plug this card in the wrong way, they're basically going to send it up in smoke, and that's the school's Apple IIe destroyed for another few years. So yeah, fortunately, happy ending. I got it the right way. But I don't know whether they really were able to be installed in the wrong direction. Because it is funny how when you're young, you can, when you're older, you incorrectly remember things from the past. So, known song. Oh, hey, what's going on?
The cats have an owl out the front.
Oh, cats have got an owl. Alright. Alrighty, 120 mouth owl. Well, I don't think they're actually an owl, but 20 mouth, frog mouth. That's what they had out there. Looked like a medium sort of age one. Let's see if I can find you a picture. 20 frog mouth. Let's see, schematic. Yeah, this is pretty much what they look like. They're weird little chaps. But what happens here is because I've got the fencing to stop the cats getting out, and the fencing has a lip that, it's about between 400 and 600 millimeter wide fold back towards the interior. And what will happen is the tawny mouth or any other birds, they will fly down, they'll catch something in our enclosure area like lizards, snakes and things like that. But if they get caught off guard and they try to take off quickly, they don't really have a great liftability. They can't take a high angle of attack out, and so as a consequence they tend to run straight into this turned in lip on the fencing, and of course then the cats just pounce on them real quick. So the experienced ones, the experienced birds, they know not to come in at certain areas. They know to keep a certain distance, and they know which way they've got to fly to get out. But if they get panicked, then this sort of thing happens. Anyway, the bird's fine. I picked it up, took it out, and it's all good, thankfully. Alright, so this laptop's working fine. Let's shut down. So I can send this one back now. So put that on the out queue. That will have to spend a night running various tests and things like that, but it's as good as done now. Okay, so that one, this SMC should be good. So I really probably should reball it, but I kind of want to get started on another job at the moment quickly. Let's see, 1466. Hey, Sabatino. Fortunately, because there's multiple people here, we do hear, if there's a bit of strange activity going on outside, and we can race out. And typically, when the cats sort of first pounce on these birds, they don't really tend to straight away chew into them or try to rip them up or anything. They're more like just watch them, like this is a weird bird. And they're weird birds, and they've got a very, their mouth is extremely wide and they open it up, and it kind of looks a bit threatening. So you've got a couple of minutes to work in before the cats finally decide, you're not so tough, and then they go for the troublemaking process. Okay, let's see. Right, next job. I'm trying to think. Another 1466, I think. Yep. Are we going to play the game today, or are we going to stuff around? Looks like we're going to stuff around. Okay, that's better. Okay, water damage. I'm just going to take the bottom plate off screen. Sorry, sometimes you just got to do this. I appreciate that people let me do repairs on screen with their machines, and I try my best to not dox them. Oh, Andre, I like that cover. I thought it was kind of a nice sort of galactic space type thing. How dare you? Elon Allison, thank you for the Canadian 149. So did you leave a message there? Popcorn time. Yeah, it's been a popcorn time day today. For the people who are wondering what I was referring to in regards to the Facebook disputes, there was a video being shown of someone recovering data, supposedly, from a A1534. And the A1534 is a renowned... it's a laptop that basically, with the MacBooks, it's as good as dead. So if it turns up in your desk in your workshop as a job, you do a data recovery only, it's dead. It's got at least 2 different faults that will come and haunt it. And one is the CPU fails, and the other is the SSD controller fails. If you're lucky, you have the CPU decide to stop working on you first. Because if the SSD controller stops on you, then yeah, it's pretty much game over there. Anyway, so if the CPU, you've seen me do them before if you've watched the channel, and all you do is you heat up the CPU for about 2 minutes at 250 degrees centigrade, you fire it up. Most of the times it will fire up, and you get the data off, and that's it, end of the story. But where the fiasco came up today was the fact that someone actually took the edge bonding off the CPU, cooked it up with a Wagner hot air gun, and you know, they did it in a way that it didn't popcorn the chip and it didn't delaminate the circuit board. But it was a case of, it was just over the top for what actually needed to be done. Because all you got to do is do the 250 for 2 minutes. That's it. Nothing more. And so naturally, of course, the debate just went out of control. Yeah. Caught on fire like we expect this circuit board to sometimes do. Okay, so we've got 451. This is pretty bad liquid damage already. It's going to be curious to see whether this is even worth doing. And the thing is, it wasn't really about the technical skill aspect. It was more about the... well, I like to think that we take some kind of Hippocratic oath when it comes to handling people's machines. You want to do no harm, is essentially your first principle. So when you're pulling these things apart, you want to try to get data, you try to do no harm, you try to minimize the risk of the data. And that means not engaging in gratuitous activities when you don't have to. It's as simple as that. And essentially cooking that CPU, or reflowing the CPU, which was what was being done. The CPU got reflowed, flux, pushed around and things like that. Just simply wasn't required. That's cactus. Yeah, damage down there. That's it's going to be a dead one, this one. I have a feeling this is probably going to be a non-economical job, but we'll check it out and see how we go. But yeah, I mean, that's basically, yeah, don't use the sledgehammer first. Use the minimum amount of impact, or the least invasive technique to get the results that you want. As I said, it had nothing to do with critiquing the person's skill set. It was more a case of the application of the said skill set. And I said at the end of the, well, I shouldn't say the end because I'm sure it's still going, But one of the last things I said on the discussion was that in terms of being a tech, what is a tech? Are we talking like a business person tech? There's so many attributes. So you have someone who can be extremely technically skilled, as in, they can take a iPhone 6 CPU off with just nothing but a cigarette lighter and things like that. You got those people that have that impressively good skill set where they can disassemble, desolder, replace things without any harm, and that's fantastic. And then you have the people who can diagnose faults without even looking at the board. You just have to describe to them a few things, what the board is, stuff like that. I'm thinking of people like, say, Duke from Lewis Rossman's group. You barely have to get halfway through your description and he's already nailed down what resistor or cap is faulty, what to look for. So you get those sort of people as well. And then also you have the business skilled people who can turn just a normal regular repair shop into something that's extremely profitable and expand it nationwide, or make money where there wasn't money being made before, things like that. And so you're always going to have this mix of various levels of those skill sets within the business. And it doesn't mean you're any more or less a tech, it just, you got to find the right balance. There's programmers out there who can do vastly superior programming than what I can ever do. And they can write out the code for the most complex algorithms just off the top of their head. There are people that are just impressive like that. But I would actually rather not have people like that more often than not, because quite frankly, a lot of the time, for as impressive as it is, you really actually don't get a lot of work out of these people. I don't mean to be down on them, but it's just a case of sometimes your skills can be so extreme that you can't actually fit within a realistic work scenario. You kind of have to become a research person or something like that. Someone employed by a university so you can sit in your room and do that kind of thing. There's a special place for people like that. Did it work out in the end? It did work out in the end, yes. And I think that was half the factor that was making the debate so fiery, is that yes, it did work, but chances are, there wasn't a need to expose the system to that level of potential risk, or that risk. There wasn't a potential risk, it was risk. Within the first 2 minutes of the video was actually when the data was already going to be recoverable. So by the time they go to put the flux on, it was probably ready to be recovered for data. Hey, Pernoff. And there are some things that they do which I'll almost never try and do. And I mean, sure, if I practice, might be able to get good enough at it. But most of the time I'll be like, well, I can't really make a business case for that. The risk is too high, chance of failure is high, the amount of money I'm going to get for it is low relative to the risk involved. So in terms of a business case, trying to make money, I'd say no. Easy to just go and buy a new board or something like that. Andre, your brother used to employ programmers like that. He said it was unstable for the most part. You find programmers like that will actually slow down your projects more often than not, because the programming is it's a very passionate expression of their art, or maybe they won't say it as art, but it's something they're very passionate about, something they're very good about it, and they will want that perfection, and as a consequence it sort of goes beyond what's required, and it just causes the whole project to stall. And then of course when other people submit their code, the specialist, the impressively good programmer, will be very critiquing of everybody else's code, so makes the morale sink. People don't want to get involved with that person, which means then you start getting a project diversion, It just spells bad news. Basically, for people like that, you have to have a special sort of setup for them. You have to be prepared that, okay, if you want to take on that kind of genius, then you're going to have to cater for it in a very specific way. Hey, Carlos Cairo. Keith McDermott, yeah, we're keeping busy. Yeah, there's honestly, the green on this, I'm more worried about the screen and the keyboard. On the other hand, it's been working for 30 years for the Linux kernel. In what respect are you talking about there, Planov? You talking about Linus himself? Some would say that that is the exception to prove the rule. This is going to be a muck-up job. I think also too in the Linux project itself there's a lot of factors that you don't normally encounter. Geez, that's gone as well. There's a lot of factors, pressures that you don't encounter in a normal, typical programming project in-house. I mean, there's going to be some similarities, but I certainly do think that the Linux kernel has become a bit of a unique project in many ways. Yeah. I don't know, see, you look at this board and you kind of think, yeah, there are so many things that are going to be wrong on this. It's probably not even worth fixing. What do we got? 1.6 and 8. And it's a 165. Damn it. Well, this has gotten everywhere. I think realistically, this should be called a write-off. I'm gonna put a what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put a test board in that machine and see how the screen and the keyboard behave. But this is really bad. It's almost to the point where I'd want to ultrasonic it before I even get started. I'm not going to, but sometimes you want to. Yeah, we're not gonna put that 3437 in it. We'll find another board. Come on, give me something that's already 3437 again. Alright, we'll use this one. If the person wanted this repaired, it's really going to depend on what we find with the keyboard and the screen. If the screen is viable, then there may be a chance, but more likely than not, it's going to be a case of, look, recover your data and take it. This feels like this has come through the keyboard though. You don't attempt to fix it, you'll never learn. Well, I agree in the sentiment. I guess that's when you got to decide, are you doing this for business or are you doing this for learning? Sometimes you have to actually, you got to draw the line somewhere. That battery, I'm definitely calling as a write-off. There's no way I'm going to put that in there. Let's try and find a test one for the interim. You know, Sutterbridge, you're probably quite right there. Take the JTAG off and it's going to just fire up nicely. But will it keep doing that for the next couple of months? I'd say an ultrasonic will probably get 90% of what's going wrong with it. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Let's see, where's my magsafe? Let's see, magsafe. Well, the speakers work. Hey, 10-minute. Give it 3 days warranty. Carlos, no, that actually is a problem. And so I've got a very large carbon filter and particulate filter. Because you're right, it's too hot in summer here to just vent out the window. Even if you've got air conditioning, because the rate at which this fume extractor pulls after the filters, it's around about 600 square meters per hour, I think it is. So your air conditioner is never going to keep up with that. So yeah, you essentially have to close up and then scrub filter as much as you can. Oh wow, the hinges on this are just so far gone. Well, I agree with you that you are always learning on the game. I definitely agree there. I think it's just a case of sometimes when you get a board like this, it kind of pushes that whole learning aspect of the process a little bit too far outside of the business case, particularly when you already do have spare boards on hand. So yeah, you got to weigh it up, considering also that once you finish with this, you've got more jobs to do. In the end, individual business choices. Hey, Tony. Right. Running a little slow. Okay, microphone works. Okay, it looks looks like this MacBook's got a temperature fault. That's the board itself, I think. Hey, Chaz. Who's complaining? Memory module, airport proximity, mainboard proximity, heat pipe. Crikey. Okay, everything's going nuts on this one. I've obviously got a faulty chip somewhere there. We can still do our keyboard test, since that's what we're here for. Screen is looking good, so that's $300 worth of value there for them. See, down, okay, that's work. Caps, yep. Keyboard actually seems to be okay as well. So in this case, it may be a situation where the liquid came in from the back, in which case it has a repairability option. Now, since the screen and the keyboard seem to be okay, we've got a battery replacement to definitely have to look at. I will have to look at the DC inboard because there are sensors on there and the audio chips on there. Even though it worked, we'll probably put that through the ultrasonic as well. And we will, for the sake of, and Dave Jones, if you're listening, this is going to be for you. For the sake of, as we say in Australia and maybe other places, for shits and giggles, we'll have a shot at repairing this. And if I get demonetized for saying that, it'll be Dave Jones's fault. He used the term on me the other day, and it reminded me that it's a term that is sometimes rather apt. Hey Walter White, welcome. We do know the camera is working, by the way, because even though it was fuzzy, it did have my general shape and activity going on in there. Okay, it looks like it might have come through the trackpad, but it's happened up this top section here rather than down here. That might be okay. Yeah. I'll replace this. It needs to... Yeah, so that's a goner. These aren't the cheapest things either. They're about 20 bucks a pop, so... everything adds up. Oh, there's plenty of people that will dislike my streams. In fact, pretty much every day lately, I probably do pick up more people who dislike my streams, simply because of the fact that, ooh, PayPal just paid me a nice sum of money. Very nice sum of money. Which is going to the solicitors tomorrow, unfortunately. I'll get to hold on to that money tonight, hug it, love it, and then tomorrow I have to give it to the solicitors. Which sucks. Yeah, I pay him to do jobs. Okay, Paul Lewis and Joy, what sort of transmitters before you go? Like broadcast TV transmitters or something? Have I heard from Jim? Yes, I have heard from Jim. I think it was today. Yeah, Walter, the solicitor monies for tomorrow for the house. So I've got the loan. They're just doing the closing motions, as it were. I gotta admit, I'm too scared to actually power this up yet. It's gonna be a lot of flux and boil. Threat radar system. Oh, okay. Interesting stuff. Enjoy. It sounds like you got an interesting job to live with. Okay, we'll just do this bit by bit. Mohammed, I'm happy to hear that you are benefiting from him. I mean, look, to be honest, I just do this more for tech entertainment value. I don't believe that I really offer that much value in terms of knowledge. But I know there's a lot of people out there who do enjoy just simply being able to sit back and listen to someone ramble off as they go about their daily job. And that's what you're going to get here, me rambling as I go about my daily job. Well, you've been watching anyway, so you know. And lots of mistakes and yeah, things like that. Oh, Tony, you mean like solicitation? Yeah. I guess when I say solicitor here, I mean in legals. But yeah, that's what the money's for. They have their fee, and then I have to pay the government a certain land tax fee. I think the solicitors was about $1,600, the land tax was $1,800, and then there were various other bits and pieces that had to be paid. And then of course there's the actual home loan deposit that has to be paid as well. It's amazing how these things add up. So if you, I'd say you probably almost need 5% of your 5% of your loan value in addition to your deposit, in order to make sure you don't get caught caught short on the amount of money you've got on standby. Oh, thank you, Basil. Now we have to fix up this area here because 3V42, I'm pretty sure is that one there, and they've disconnected. So we won't even get a green light on this. Try this in South Africa. 27,000 Rand paid today in D-transfer alone. Yeah, but mind you, see 27,000, what are you guys, 8 Rand to the US dollar at the moment, or are you up to 10 now? Still, 2,700 US, that's a fair bit. Would you believe my first house was in South Africa? It was a nice little security enclosed area in Centurion. Are they allowed to call that Centurion anymore? Or they changed the name of that? It was just at the back of the Centurion cricket grounds. 20 to the quid. Oh, okay. So it's getting steep. Yeah, ish, man. Yeah. I still retain a lot of my bad South African habits. Not the drinking one, but pretty much all the others. Cursing every chance I can when I can. Wanting to have braais. Yelling at people when they reckon that barbecues are better than braais. I mean, there's no pup and sauce at a barbecue. I mean, it's never going to be better than a braai. Damn it. Okay, those pins are pretty badly damaged down there. Sort of somewhat disinclined to remove this connector. I'd rather try and replace it in situ. Repair it, I mean, not replace it. But I think that pin is gone. I was in South Africa for 4 and a bit years. Worked all over the country. Went to Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Mostly up in the Highveld, Johannesburg, Pretoria, Centurion area. And then went to... I probably spent a great deal of my time out at the Pilanesberg, which is a very nice gaming area, game park area, out of Pretoria. It's where Sun City, if anyone knows what Sun City is, or as we call it, Sin City, then yeah, that's where it was. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed my time over there. Right up until they kicked me out. And even that was fun. Not really. And I'm reminded most days of my time there, and today I got reminded because here in Australia they have a thing called a first homeowners grant, and until about I think 2 years ago it was worded such that if you have not owned a house in Australia prior to the one that you're trying to buy, you were eligible for the first homeowners grant. And originally that was like $14,000, and then it reduced over time. And then they started to change the criterion, and you had to start doing major renovations in order to qualify. But if you didn't do major renovations, they'd at least give you the land the transfer tax for nothing. But then this time when I went around and looked at the paperwork, it said they'd added a new thing, and they said anywhere in the world. So I missed out on making that $1,800 savings. Let's see, would you do it again in South Africa? I would, if I wound the clock back and went back there, I'd definitely go back again. I think it was certainly a key experience in my life. You'll learn a lot of things when you work in a different country rather than just being a tourist. Yeah, nothing wrong with being a tourist in another country, but when you actually work there for a number of years, it does something to the way you sort of the way you perceive and accept things in life. It makes you a little more appreciative of just how good you do have some things. Do some people recognize you from your YouTube channel around your area? Fortunately not. Most people around here don't actually have an inclination towards this kind of work, and the only people who do know about me doing it are ones that it's been mentioned in passing through conversations. Yeah, I'm not real happy with those fillets. And also, 25,000 subscribers. It's not really fame level as such, in spite of the fact that there's like more than twice the number of people in this city. Ever get a MacBook that you buy not working that arrives working perfectly? Oh yeah. All the too often. That, along with the boards when you pull them out and they're immaculate, there's nothing visually wrong with them. They are two certainly very big fears, because you know it's going to come back and bite you at some point. You know you're not going to get away with that freebie. Yeah, you try to convince yourself by doing a whole bunch of tests and go, look, it's working. It's been working for 6 weeks now, non-stop. But as soon as you give it back to a person or sell it to someone, that thing is going to play up like a toddler on red cordial. Damn it, I'm putting solder on the exterior of this connector. I'm really not happy with that pad. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little happier now. Mohammed, I think my suggestions would be much the same as what Lewis would suggest, which is simply just, grab something. Grab something like a 1466 or similar type machine and just try and repair it. At least you can get plenty of donor boards for it. They're fairly cheap. Start out with taking a part off without cooking everything, then putting it back on, and bit by bit. Yeah. And then after you've done that for even just a week, you can probably start having some successes with repairs. It's a little tricky because it's hard to say what you're going to end up if you buy something from eBay and whatnot. Man, there's so much damage around here. I think I'll just go along and pick out the crappy looking parts and replace them. How's that sound? I think the hard thing is trying to develop a sense of confidence that you have the ability to do the work without developing a sense of incompetence by thinking you can do more than you can. It's a fine balance. You obviously need to have that desire to push yourself, but you've also got to make sure that you know that you're pushing yourself as opposed to blindly believing you can do something. Like I say, it's good to have faith in yourself. That's what you want to have, but you also got to be realistic about what you actually can do right now, particularly if you're charging people for it. And I think that's what grinds the gears on a lot of people, is when people who are getting started, it's great, but they start charging customers for jobs that they maybe shouldn't be doing, or they think that they can do but they really don't do right. And it's difficult because you can go back to, say, Lewis's story and realize that, he pretty much, he did something similar. But I think there's a difference in the cockiness level. So you get these people and they're like really cocky about what they do, and they're like, oh, I know how to do all that, I've done that, and they charge people, and then things go wrong and they find ways to blame, deflect the blame, things like that. And it just leaves the industry in a bit of a difficult spot. Like I say, it's a fine balance, and the perception of what your balance is will vary between people. So like, I will perhaps think that one person's being overly cocky, shouldn't be charging what they are, or maybe shouldn't be doing this sort of yet, doing what they're doing, but maybe they're actually perfectly right to do it. I guess what's annoying a lot of us is that the number of jobs that we're getting where the boards are being butchered and the opportunity to repair it has been lost, as well as the customer's funding. It's probably the loss of funding that really gets us going, because we say, okay, well, that's going to cost you $350 to get that fixed, and the customer's like, well, I just spent $400 on this other guy and he wasn't able to fix it, can you do me a discount or something? And it's like, blimey heck, Now, in fairness, it means the other guys are obviously better at doing marketing than we are. Because if we were any good at marketing, we'd not have those customers going to those places in the first place. So maybe the blame is on us after all. And there are jobs that I send off to other places. Like, I send a good number of jobs down to Geelong. Not MacBooks, but iPhones and things like that. Because it's like, well, I really shouldn't be doing this particular job. I'll hand it over to the guy down in Geelong. And the customer's data and their job is in good hands. I don't have to worry about coming up with lies. Stereogenic, the old undercut process, that is a bit of a nasty way of going about it. I won't lie, I know I've done that myself when it comes to things like when it came to model aircraft parts. At the time I got into doing it myself, I was getting real sick of seeing things like transmitters for sale overseas at $60 US. But the cheapest you can get for the same thing over here would be $250. So there was this real problem of a middleman sucking up some decent profits, and I wanted a piece of that. And so I would not quite split the difference on the profits, but I would certainly make sure I came in at a fairly aggressive price point in order to capture at least initially, the market. Once I'd captured a reasonable amount of the market, then I switched on to my different hat, which was the hat that said, "You damn young people shouldn't be undercutting everybody in the market, you're killing the market." Hey, yummy steak. In this case, for me, the man of the middle was actually a importer, distributor, and what they would do is they would get exclusive rights to a great range of products, and so you couldn't competitively bring those products in like through the grey imports or anything like that. So what happened is, at the time, there was a growing interest in lithium polymer electric aircraft, things like that. And because this other company had not yet managed to get a exclusivity agreement with the suppliers from China, then we were all able to jump in and actually kill the market for them before it, before they locked it up. They took your jobs! Yes, indeed. Walter White. Missed out on a 5-foot Bell helicopter last year on eBay. I was waiting to pounce and Amazon turned up. Got talking for... Oh, man. I hate it when that happens. You get distracted for just long enough to miss out on that opportunity. I don't know if it was actually even legal, Yummy Steak. It was just a case of no one had the clout to be able to compete with them. Because we are a pretty small market. I mean, we're no bigger than the state of New York. Yeah, there's what, 26,000 people here? It's a tiny market, really. Honestly, it's amazing that manufacturers even make products exclusively for Australia or to Australian standards. Because, yeah, like I said, 26, 27 million people, that's nothing. There are islands in Asia that you can walk across in half a day that have more people than that. Just going to take out these bits and those bits. They're not bad, but I just want to clear up as much as I can. Oops, I really shouldn't just release them into the wild. I should place them down outside of the board. When you release the parts into the wild, just by letting the hot air blow them off with the tweezers, you can be guaranteed they're going to end up where you don't want them. There you go, 8 million in London alone. I mean, yeah, Australia is a very... Geopolitically, Australia is quite quirky. So we're kind of first world, but we have such an incredibly low population density. Help the world when it needed it most. Yeah, I guess we tried. Mind you, that was the past. Nowadays we seem to be hurting more than helping. Have you used hot tweezers? Yeah, I have had the opportunity, but honestly I didn't find them to be quite as a game changer as I had hoped. I was thinking of trying the JBC Nano ones. Yeah, maybe they'll be better. But in the end, I just sort of found, like I said, it wasn't the game changer I was hoping it would be. Maybe they weren't set up right. Maybe, maybe it was a user problem. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. You let parts fly in the wind and that's where they end up all over the place. Oh, our internet standards are truly atrocious here in Australia. We should have had a fantastic network by now, but nah, no siree, can't have that. Mr. Murdoch won't stand for that. So butcher the Australian internet, break it at the kneecaps with a crowbar from Kmart. Sponsored by Murdoch. I rarely get the urge to cry over political issues and losses, but I must admit, when they changed the NBN from being fiber to the premises as the primary intent to fiber to the node and all the hodgepodge crap that they did, it was just like, this is going to be a disaster. I don't even know if I'm going to be around anymore by the time they do finally sort things back out again. If business goes well enough here, I will probably actually pay for fiber to the premises. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose tonight. Alright, okay. Yeah, I'm sort of seeing a lot of people come out to the same conclusion, Walter, as in, it's a great concept, but in practice it just doesn't seem to quite get there. I think the only time that I would really find the tweezers most effective is when you're trying to pull a cap out of a deeply nested board like an iPhone around the CPU or something like that. But other than that, yeah. Yeah, Murdoch really did do a number on our system, because basically it was the Foxtel network that was going to get destroyed by the presence of the NBN. In the end, Netflix and Stan and now certainly Disney Plus pretty much has put the nails into the coffins for Murdoch as it is. But the trouble is, damage is done now. Trying to roll back the last 10, 12 years and get our fiber to the premises back, it's just not going to happen. So it took longer, cost more, and is slower. It's like exactly the opposite of what was promised, which is pretty much a politician's normal. Yeah, there's plenty of policies that I like, or coming from the LNP, but the way they did the network over, yeah. And to be fair, the ALP really didn't help their case, because I think the first mistake they made, and I don't know whether they were tricked into it or what, but just when things were going great, they decided, hey, let's put a firewall on the Australian internet. And it was like, really? You guys are absolute morons. It's like, you're just going to destroy any goodwill you might have had coming your way thanks to the NBN, and now you're just going to try and lock it up behind a firewall and make people have to have their browsing exposed. It doesn't matter how weak the resulting policy ends up being, just the principle of it is enough to make people run the other way hard and fast. Sorry, I'm getting a bit political here. It's not my normal sort of trick. I guess when it comes to things like the internet, I do get a bit passionate because it's a key element to so much of what we do these days. And to have it just treated like a bit of political football for something so important and that rare once-in-a-lifetime type opportunity, it was just like too much to handle. Barry, in this particular case, mostly because for a start, we don't even know what the fault on the board is. And I'm just going through and looking for the truly bad bits of trash that I don't like, getting them taken off now before I plug anything in. I guess because I don't want to spend too long. Well, two things. I don't want to spend too long chasing faults that I know I can already pick out now. And second is, I don't want these things to cause a fault that may not be present until I power it up. That is, I don't want to... Damn it, I'm making that thing melt. Good thing I can just replace those. Ah, it's ticking me right off. It's not the lockdown tab that I care about, it's the actual connector itself. There we go. Problem solved. Yeah, so we're not even yet starting into the burrow of the rabbit hunt, we're just more preparing our weaponry. Carlos, in all honesty, I haven't had enough experience with the 2020s yet. But probably the thing that's stalling most people's repairs on them would be the availability of the CD3217s. I know I'm waiting on a bunch of them. They are not cheap. So like we can take this, just pull it off and put it on that one that's damaged at the moment. Yeah, I am left-handed. Well, I'm ambidextrous in many things, but then most left-handeds are ambidextrous. Usually as a consequence of living in a world dominated by right-handed people. Sad thing is we live less years. I've lost my positioning. Oh, there we go. I can tweezer with either hand, no problem. So left or right, I'm fine with using tweezers. Because obviously when I'm soldering I have to use my right hand for tweezers. I guess it depends on what your arm is built for, whether you've got a strong arm or whether you've got a dexterous arm, as in your style of build. There's probably also a degree of learning in it. Yeah, maybe if I go back, if I could recall back, maybe it felt awkward no matter which way I had it orientated. And it was a case of you just simply do it enough times that it becomes an accepted feel. Nay, do not tombstone on me, you bastard. Are most Arabic people left-handed? Good question. Definitely got some of that in me, I'm pretty sure, based on my eyes. Some sort of Middle Eastern aspects. Nice one, Keith. This is just going to be a flux and boil section. There wasn't really a lot around there, I just wanted to give it a freshening over. Right, now we get on to the stuff that's actually problematic. I mean, look at this already. Bam, bam. They're probably trouble. Bam, bam. Flintstones. Hey, Greg. Nice to see you. What you been up to today? A Blue Dog Run? Yeah, Blue Dog Run. This isn't really a board I would normally take on, but I'm doing it for the sake of entertainment. I'm ashamed to say I'm a slave to the YouTube. I'm worried I pulled the stumps out of this one. I have to get down and dirty and scratch that up a bit. By the way, a few weeks ago I said I was having a hard time getting into The Mandalorian. I think I got up to episode 3 and I just said I had to put it to side. It was like, it just wasn't grabbing me. Anyway, I started again, carry on from where I was before, and I have to say, once I got to episode 4 onwards, then yeah, I was happy to watch that. Feels like it kind of saved the whole Star Wars universe. So can we just destroy the Star Wars movies and just carry on with The Mandalorian? There might actually be some hope for the fans. I wouldn't consider myself a fan, I'm just enjoy watching. I have a feeling I'm going to have to lift this. There's corrosion in and around it that kind of looks like it's dug in under the chip. Yeah, I think I'll replace that. It's got a bit too much corrosion on that pin there. Let's see, Basku. I like all parts really. I like to chop and change on a regular basis, just to keeps it entertaining or interesting for me. If I stick to one aspect alone, then I'll get bored. So I'm a programmer, designer, and repairer. Like, between those aspects, I can sort of keep cycling around and manage to keep the business running. Like I said, I'm not a massive Star Wars fan per se, but I gotta say the movies were, particularly the last three. Well, actually no, the last movie I was just like, oh wow, they really just gave up on that script. Hey Rodrigo, welcome. Sorry you didn't get a notification. It's annoying, this board sits higher than the other one. I think what was starting to wig me out with The Mandalorian in the first 3 episodes was the behaviour of the Mandalorian group and their way they were talking and things like that. Like, you know, it is the way and stuff like that. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be like some sort of cultish behavioural script going on here. There, that part's going to fly away, aren't you? Come on, try it. Just try it. Yeah, Rodrigo, I was saying, by the 4th episode, I was finally feeling more comfortable with it, but prior to the 4th, it was annoying me a little more than it was capturing me. Manakatana, any chance you'll join FairTube? Probably not. I don't even know what FairTube is at this point. And look, honestly, right now with things that are going on outside of business, there's no chance for me to do anything beyond, this is about my limit right now. Sitting down, doing some YouTube repairs live, and it probably won't be a while until I can do something more. It's just not going to happen, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's those sections cleared up. Bit of junk there, but nothing to be worried about. This is 1.68. Yeah. Thankfully, all of this stuff under here is good, so that's good. I think we'll let's have a look at the PCHH SIOs. See how that looks after I think it's just more dusty than anything else. Yeah, that's just more dusty. Oh, look, a flyaway part. Alright, that definitely is going to need replacing. That's a very common victim to liquid damage. I'll just take out certainly the cap and the chip. What's the time now? Jeez, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. If this doesn't fan spin and work, then I'm blaming you all. I'm going to send you all invoices for my time wasted. I do love my fume hood, how it just draws away those fumes. Richard Feynman. I did enjoy that book, Genius, written by, I think it was James Gleick, who also wrote Chaos. It was a good book, both of them were good books. Genius and Chaos by James Gleick. I think I've read Chaos 5 or 6 times now. And I think I've read Genius at least 3 times now. I've had that since the mid-90s. Hey Barry, rest. Oh, yep, alright. Invoice paid in full. Good job, sir. You'll get bonus options due to early payment. So who's been playing with the cryptos the last few days? I've decided that the Wall Street Bets Discord and things like that, it in itself has become, or at least it seems, to pretty much just to become a scam site in its own right. I don't see how you can realistically achieve their proposed 500 or even 200 to 1500% gains unless you know in advance what their coin's going to be. It just does. I can't see it. I mean, that when they pick their coin and it spikes, you've got maybe 5 seconds to get within the window of a 2-fold gain. Outside of that, you're basically just feeding the monster. See, Rigo was trying to restore an iPhone 7, gave me 3194 error. I have not heard of that error. Turns out Apple decided to shut down iOS 14.3 and didn't realize. Oh, I don't do that a lot. Andre, you're going to short sell my stock. First I'll have to get the stock. Alright, so our clock chip here has got a bit of damage around it, so probably best we just replace that. Fortunately, the RTC 3v3 section is in perfectly good condition. Pardon me. We want to make sure that's in good condition because that feeds directly up into here for the PCH, and if it goes wrong, then you can say bye-bye, Mr. PCH. Didn't say it was a good plan. No, well, true, you didn't say that. I guess people just made the assumption. And in many business deals, playing on assumptions is exactly how you get what you want. As in, you say something that you know the other person's going to assume incorrectly, and you take advantage of that. Miles, oh, let me turn it into a stock channel then. I have watched the movie The Founder a couple of times. That's the one about the story of McDonald's with Batman in it. What's his name? Keaton. I enjoy that movie. But yeah, unfortunately, when I watch it, I always do consider myself to be one of the original guys. And someone like Lewis Rossman is Mr. Keaton. Michael Keaton, that's it. Oh damn it, and again today I forgot to order more wick. Oh, this is bad news, bad news. I have to start searching across my desk for little pieces of wick that I haven't already abused or used. Clip off the ends and try and suck up a bit more solder with them. Kind of the equivalent of looking around in the gutter for someone who hasn't fully smoked a cigarette, breaking off the nasty bit and lighting up that last little bit of good tobacco in there. Not that I'm a smoker, but I watched IT Crowd and I saw Jen do that. And I figured if Jen did it, then it's probably real. Yeah, Barry, that is true about Lewis. Mind you, I kind of need Lewis around for a bit longer because, I kind of need him to promote my product. I mean, if Lewis is not yelling about me, then how am I supposed to get my exposure? Jen turned off the internet. Yes, she crushed the internet. And toddlers were tearing up paper towels and people were killing each other. And April got knocked out. That was an excellent episode. Definitely one of the best episodes. Along with the theatre episode. Damn it, no clock chip on this one. Because I'm disabled. Walter White, just spent the last 15 minutes grovelling to the missus who read your last post. Well, that would be your own fault, wouldn't it now? Ooh, that is a pristine looking clock chip. Delicious. But in all seriousness, no, I mean, if Lewis stops doing board repairs, then I do lose a significant portion of my exposure. I mean, for the last 3.5, 4 years, his constant yelling at me and mentioning my name and mentioning the software has been a superb source of publicity. The sort of publicity I really could not purchase, even if I had a lot of money. There's just no way I would be able to buy that level of exposure. Do you think... no. Thankfully. Oh man, this nose scratch is really driving me insane, and it's only because I'm on live stream. I do hope that maybe somehow one day I may be able to catch up with Lewis, say hello, And that's pretty much about it. Yeah, just so we can look at each other and go, man, you look different from what you look like on the internet. And that would be about it. I can't imagine we'd really have that much to say to each other other than, well, really not that much. I mean, yeah, we can make some quick jokes about how bad my software is or how mean he's been and things like that, but beyond that, you know, because we don't have any interaction, it's not like you can just instantly meet each other and go, hey, let's have a 6-hour conversation. The only time that ever happens for me, or has happened for me, is usually when it's involved a woman that I've been interested in or felt a connection with, and obviously vice versa. And I really don't see that happening with Lewis. And use the cat. Yeah, there have been some people I've met and talked to 3, 4 in the morning, well heck until the sun comes up, and I've only just met them that night. Yeah, that's sort of crazy thing you do when you're in your young 20s. But I don't see that happening with Lewis, and I'd be rather concerned if it did happen with Lewis. And I think that's what's important when you go and you meet people that you know online and things like that, but you don't actually know in real life, is that beyond some short anecdotes and, you know, bits of comment, you really don't have a large base to draw on for discussion. The best way it would work would simply for us to sort of go, oh, well, listen, I've got this board I need to repair, and you've got a board you need to repair, so let's just sit down, repair some boards, and discuss that as it happens. I think it'd be the most realistic way. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we taunt each other all the time and all that, but really we don't talk that much outside of that. We don't have a lot in common in that respect, other than the fact that we both understand that we're not really trying to establish that kind of connection, friendship. If anything, I'll probably talk a little bit too much to him. Like when he does respond to anything that I've said, I do have a bad habit of waffling on a bit too long, which I don't like. So I must try and rectify that. Try and revert to monosyllabic answers. Yeah, the CD3217s are like 50 to 60 bucks a piece. I've seen some for 40, but I'm kind of not keen on picking those up. Hillbrow, I remember that. Hillbrow. Why do I remember Hillbrow? Johannesburg suburb, right. I think I actually had to pick something up at Hillbrow once. Let's see what's around it. Johannesburg Stadium's nearby. Johannesburg Park. I think I had to go in around that area because there was a Russian ballet that was on at one point, and we had tickets and just went along to see. Parktown I know I've definitely been to. Melville definitely. Well, anyway, at least I know now why Hillbrow triggered a response in me. But yeah, I was, like I said, I was in Centurion most of my time. That's where I had my house. Prior to that, I was in Pretoria. Sorry, Umtali, I think it's called now, isn't it? Umtali? But yeah, that's where I was prior to that. Yeah, I nearly got carjacked around that area one night at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was just coming back from one of the casinos out at, I can't even remember now where it was. Because I was doing IT work for Stocks and Stocks and Legacy Hotels. I don't know if you know Stocks and Stocks or Legacy Hotels. But yeah, I was working for them. I wish I could remember the name of this particular casino. It was like a sort of like a little Fantasyland casino place in the middle of no flippin' where. Sort of northeast of Johannesburg, I think it was. But most of the time was spent around Centurion Hotel, the Michelangelo, places like that. Is the flux like shimmery? Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I can see that there are reflections there, but it doesn't obscure my view as much as what it does on the video. Oh yay, let's bridge that thing. And I've got to replace that cap from down there. Okay, this ISO is not perfectly on, but at the same time I don't think I'm going to shift it. I'm just going to leave it slightly skew. The skew isn't so severe that the pads are going to cross over each other. The only thing going to get cross here is my sense of alignments. So you want it to be perfect, but unfortunately it doesn't have enough. The surface tension generated by these pads doesn't have enough to usually override what's being held on this center pad. So you can't typically get it to do a nice magical swing around in alignment. Oh boy. Okay, this bothers me. See this bit of a sheen there? A rainbow sheen? That says to me something went wrong under there. Or at least maybe. So we'll pull that up. Yeah, if you try to correct it, you'll regret it. Okay, dot bottom left. Yeah, there might not have been anything wrong there, but given that I've got a pretty good donor board here, I don't see the point of wasting the opportunity to replace it. Yeah, lightning damage is one way. Sometimes it's just liquid corrosion. Sometimes you get a bit of some material in that liquid, and as it dries off it forms that sheen. Where was it? Oh, there it is. Okay, still some flux from over here. Did I did not. Okay, I was going to say, did I redo those pads? And I realised I did not. Getting late. Peter, if you do put too much on the centre pad and if you don't squeeze it out, then what will usually happen is you just don't get contact on the outer pads very well. Where the danger comes in is if you do squeeze it out but not well enough, you can have a bit of a bridge of solder going on in there. But the way you fix that is that after you've done the squeeze down, you reflow it again. Ow, burning my hand. Yeah, after you've done the squeeze down, just hit it with the reflow, the heat again, and that will cause the solder to like separate any sort of likely traces that might be under there. Because the solder does not like to sit around just as a blob on the board. It wants to go to something else metallic. Okay, the SMC is genuinely a cluster of horror. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh. It's getting late. I want to get to the point where I can actually power it up and not worry about destroying things. Have you seen the Pi Pico? I have, yes. Don't really have any use for one at this point. I've bought a couple of Raspberry Pis, but I find more often than not I don't end up using them. I either end up just doing whatever I need to do with a AVR 80 Mega or something like that, or even AT Tiny. And if it's anything bigger than that, then I'll just generally use it, bring out a PC and use that. I mean, they're definitely useful machines, those Raspberry Pis, but I don't have a lot of uses for them myself. Retro gaming, yeah, that would be a good use for them. I mean, it's still massively overpowered, but even factoring in the virtual system you have to run, is that using the MAME system? Or have they moved on from MAME and using something else now? Like, when I do what? Oh yeah, when I use a lot of flux, yeah. I'm gonna give this a tap. There's definitely going to be junk under this SMC. I think there's a bit of goop on this corner here. And by goop I mean some of that edge bonding. I didn't get it all cleared out. I'm just going to scrub down this corrosion area with some 80-20. See how bad things are. See if anything moves as the bristles go over it. Seems to be pretty good. The one resistor looks like it's got a defect on it. Yep, there you go. Replace both of those. Wow, speech coming more difficult now. That resistor certainly would have been damaged. This one maybe not, but we'll get rid of both. Oh, lost that pad. That's 342. At least it looks like it's lost. Unless it's just beautifully corroded over. It's corroded over. Whew, thank goodness for that. Not that it's a major issue. There's plenty of 342 points around here. At least I'm pretty sure that's 342 there. The board's very hot and burning my hand as I'm It might be enough for the flux to do its job with a bunch of solder. Peter, this is the SMC chip that we're right next to. Big batter blob of flux and solder. Marvellous. It actually came up alright. Hey Mido, how's it going? I'm starting to feel tired. I'm gonna pass out on my desk here and probably end up with a pair of tweezers through my eyeball at this rate. Okay. Alright, so we want to take these two resistors, move them over to the other side. I'm not ready to go to bed yet, Teresa. At the very least, I want to get it to the point where at least I can take the risk of putting power into it. Right now I'm not quite at that point. The SMC wasn't actually my main concern. Ah, crap. Damn it. So, which two resistors did I just yank off? I think it was the two lower ones, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Damn it. I'm pretty sure it was. I'll check on another board, okay? No need to panic, we've got more boards. Hey Max, how's it going? Oh, you both tombstone on me. Brilliant. Oh, we've got a cross tombstone. Yep. This is the game we play when we're tired. Haha. I still won that round. Well, Okay, let's have a look. Whoops. Nope, they are not the lower ones. They are, in fact, the two upper ones. Up there and there. So I need to shift them back up that way. Or was that a 34, 37? No, it's 165. So yeah, we've got to actually shuffle them up. That's why it was having the battle with me. It was the universe saying, you got it wrong, bro. I really don't like saying bro and mate and stuff like that. I find when people start saying that stuff like, yeah bro, what, yeah, it's just, they're insulting you. They're not really being nice. Okay, so the chips of great concern when it comes to possible damage is this one here, pretty sure that's TPS. This one controls, I'm pretty sure this one controls CPU, some of the CPU voltages. Backlight, not so worried about, but I will clean that up. And obviously, yeah, the ISL. I'll just flux and boil a couple of these areas. Yummy steak. We have a marketing campaign called See You in the NT. Now the NT referring to the Northern Territory, and CU just being a cute way of spelling or saying see you as in hello, we'll have a look at you. So yeah, it's a big marketing campaign. See you in the NT, and they get away with it. Rather quintessentially what Australians like to think Australians are like, even though Australians aren't actually really like that. That's the hilarious thing, is that we have this Australian persona generated by the likes of Paul Hogan, which really doesn't apply to most Australians. Yet we like to pretend it does sometimes, when it suits us. Man, how can they... thank goodness YouTube didn't hold that. We say catch you later, alligator. Which is funny because we don't have alligators here, we have crocodiles. Salt water and fresh water. Marketing campaign could be worse, could be meth we're on it. Well, that would at least be honest marketing. Peter, no, probably just go let it do its thing. Honestly, most of the time, restricting the current, at least on the input side, won't do much. It's more the voltages that get generated. Okay, that's taking a swim. That's good. Like, you'll have a spike of 18 volts go straight into one of the CPU lines, and it's just like the end. So sad, too bad. And you don't really see a lot of current flowing for that. Fosters. No one drinks Fosters in Australia. The only people that do are tourists who go into special pubs that cater for tourists. Crikey, Walter, that's pretty good going. Get your house in prospect of being sold already. This here is probably going to be a nasty cap. But I think we're going to try and power it up now. Wow. Like I said, not really a business case for doing this amount of work on a board. But in terms of entertainment for YouTube, sure. Got the chipmunk. Donor board. Actually, the board's radiating a lot of heat, so I'm going to put the cooler on. Oh yeah, Rodrigo, the house is actually tomorrow afternoon will be mine. Oh, we having SMTP issues here going on. Let's see, Greg. Multiple clients since October, no issues, no info from recipient, why it's happening. Have implemented SPF, DKIM, DMARC on the client. Wow, that sounds like you got everything settled there. It can be very frustrating when your mails don't go through or they keep getting thrown into spam bins for reasons that you just can't seem to find out. Particularly if the spam engine doing the filtering won't mark in the email why the email was flagged for that. Days of old for me, that stuff. If you claim of fame, I guess it could be for me as well. Like if even back in the late 90s you were doing bidirectional email filtering with SendMail, then this is who you can thank for being able to do that. And then tools like RipMime, Ultimime, all that sort of stuff. Okay, enough tooting of my own horn. We're not allowed to do that. It's illegal. Let's see. Should we put a fan on it for ceremonial purposes? I think we'll put a fan on it for ceremonial purposes. But the email system now has grown well beyond my complete understanding of it. I mean, I used to read that SendMail book cover to cover, and I knew it quite well. But nowadays, there's so many different things that have changed. I can't. I'm basically back to being stupid. Okay, here we go. Oh, we got a fan spin. This is a 165, so we want to keep going. We're waiting for the green. Come on, green. Give us green. Blink, oh green beast. Current's right. Come on. Green! Green! We have a win. It actually boots. Look, I'll be honest and say I don't actually have a large amount of faith in this board as yet. What I'll do is probably ultrasonic at this point. Go back, look for parts that have got grey ends on them, give them a bit of a push with the tweezers and see if they break off, things like that. So yeah, but see, that's a lot of work to do on a board like this. As you know from previous streams, I have a fairly decent stash of replacements of these, so it's getting to the point now where I can start to sort of go, you know what, I might use this as a donor board. But we fixed this one up and it entertained people for a whole just over 2 hours. Well, as I said, I'll send you all the invoice. Yep, bit of a marathon. Ultrasonic looks shiny. Oh, I have had people send me machines where this has been the state of the board, and I'm just like, why? Particularly, it'd be okay if they kept it outside of the actual chassis, but no, they reassemble it completely and the flux just gets everywhere. It's a complete disaster. But anyway, you clean it up best you can, but you can never quite get that flux sheen off the interior plastic of the computer. Alright, that's it. I'm out of here. It is 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to go check my crypto stocks and see how much money I've lost. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, you all take care. I'll catch you later.